motto, which has not changed to this day, is as follows: Allah is our objective, the Prophet is our leader, the Quran is our law, jihad is our way, dying in the faith of Allah is our highest hope. If those are the people we empower by relying on them and reaching out to them, we not only damage ourselves by giving them entry into the upper reaches of our political system, but we correspondingly strengthen them in the Islamic community and weaken the reasonable voices like those of Dr. Zuhdi Jasser and others. And speaking of weakening the reasonable voices like Zuhdi Jasser's, let me give you a glimpse of how people try to do that. Dr. Jasser was invited recently by a group to speak here in New York. And since one of the members of the group was a member of a prominent law firm here in town, that lawyer decided that he would host a speech. The senior manager of diversity development at that firm then received a 2-page letter on the letterhead of the Muslim Bar Association of New York, dated May 8th. Now, I'm not going to read the whole letter, nor am I going to name the firm, but I think it would be useful for you to hear precisely how this works. The letter begins by announcing the writer's purpose, quote, to express concern regarding an event that is taking place at your firm. The event, of course, was Dr. Jasser's speech. The letter tells us that Mr. Jasser, and here there's no reference to either his medical degree and certainly none to his service in the U.S. Navy, Dr. Jasser is a controversial figure who has been closely linked to Islamophobia, there's that word again, in the United States. And many Muslim Americans regard his positions as offensive and troubling. The letter then goes on to say that this Bar Association, quote, has long been aware of this firm's commitment to diversity, inclusion, and tolerance, and then goes on to recite several examples of diversity, inclusion, and tolerance that were directed at Muslims by this firm. It then returns to Zuhdi Jasser. Quote, despite the moderate facade that he and his American Islamic Forum for Democracy profess, Mr. Jasser has been directly linked to some of the most notorious purveyors of Islamophobia in the United States today. Mr. Jasser is the narrator of The Third Jihad, the anti-Muslim film that was the center of last year's NYC training controversy. The film, which has been condemned by Muslim organizations and civil rights groups, was later characterized as wacky and inappropriate by the NYPD, unquote. The Islamophobes to whom Dr. Jasser is connected include, of course, Andy McCarthy and our host tonight. The Muslim organizations and civil rights groups that have condemned the firm naturally are CARE and ISLAM, both Muslim Brotherhood fronts. So far as the film, I've seen it, and it's both balanced and intelligent, making clear that the producer and narrator, Dr. Jasser, himself a Muslim, has nothing against Islam or Muslims. And as for the characterization by the police department, that came at the direction of the mayor, who had not seen the film himself, and whose backbone, to paraphrase Teddy Roosevelt, would be more rigid if it were strapped to a banana.